Thursday. In what seems like another life, my wife and I used to own resale and consignment stores. We spent our days finding value in things other people were discarding and then reselling them in our stores. I loved watching Storage Wars and American Pickers because we were also living that life. It was so interesting to see the incredible value hidden in what other people considered to be junk. One time, we purchased a storage unit that happened to have a huge Dodge Ram pickup parked inside. We were so excited. The truck was our biggest score ever. Or at least that's what we thought, until it was time to take it home. With no key and broke down engine, we wound up fighting to tow it out of the storage unit in a foot deep of snow. We ended up selling the truck for cheap to someone who could repair it. Then, a few weeks later, they called us because they had a problem with the truck. A problem? They towed it away. They knew they were buying a fix-up junker. Now they want to call us with a problem? Once on the call, the new owner finally disclosed the problem. I found human remains in this truck. What? We sold a murder vehicle? Not exactly. It turns out there were 4 urns in the vehicle. The previous owner had been driving around with his family under the seat. The truck seemed to be nothing but junk, but the hidden contents were priceless to the person who loved those people. Kind of a morbid way to drive around, but to each his own, I guess. What's the point? When we talk about honor, the biblical definition is tamau, properly assign value, give honor, as it reflects the personal esteem, value, preciousness, attached to it by the beholder. Honor isn't always based on what we see on the outside. Value is often hidden beneath the seat of broken down exteriors. When we judge other people, we are limited to what we see on the outside. Oftentimes, we see actions and activities coming from the brokenness of their lives. It's easy to discard them, but what if there's something valuable, even priceless, hidden behind their chaos? But how can you tell if there's hidden value if you're not an expert in knowing people's insides? It's actually pretty easy. Look to Jesus, the great appraiser of human value. No matter how beat up and rough running that person in your life is, Jesus paid his life for them. He deemed them valuable enough to trade heaven for a grave in order to purchase them. Wow, that's valuable. Whether you are judging someone else or even yourself, remember, Jesus found them to be worth everything he had, and that should be enough evidence for us to see the value too. Although our minds naturally tend toward criticism, they will expand whatever we focus on. If you start training your brain to focus on finding value, you will find it. The more you train it, the easier it will be, and soon you will have a habit of spotting value where others miss it. This is what Jesus did all throughout his life, and it's what he calls us to do as his disciples. Here are a few verses to reflect on as you pray and ask God to help you see the value in every person he died for and honor them, including that person and yourself. Romans 12:10. Love one another with brotherly affection. outdo one another in showing honor. 1 Corinthians 12:22-24. On the contrary, the parts of the body that seem to be weaker are indispensable, and the parts we consider less honorable we treat with greater honor, and our unpresentable parts are treated with special modesty, whereas our presentable parts have no such need. But God has composed the body and has given greater honor to the parts that lacked it. Share your thoughts below.